Okay, so now we're going to cast on. I'm going to make a quick little slip knot, pull the yarn through, stick our needle into the yarn, tighten up the slip knot loop. Okay, now when you're casting on, you got to pay attention to what is your tail end and then what is your working yarn end. So again, the working yarn is attached to the ball. The tail end is the tail. You want the tail end to be closest to you and you want the working yarn to be back there, okay? We're going to take our left hand, and I always make like a little pinchy motion with my finger, with my thumb and my first finger, and I actually insert these two fingers into the yarn, and then I use these three fingers to wrap it around the tail end and the working yarn. So I go like this, okay? Then pull it tight, and then you're gonna hold on to these little, you're gonna make a nice little loop up here, like this, okay? Then I'm going to use my index finger on my right hand to just kind of hold the slip knot we made. And the slip knot counts as one stitch, so, you know, it's like a little cheater stitch. It's excellent. So now we're going to start casting on. We're going to start making stitches. So the first step, you're going to go under, you're going to bring your needle under the first loop of your thumb, go up through the pocket that your thumb has made, okay? You're going to go over the second strand of yarn, and then you're going to go around the outside of the index finger yarn, and then you're going to dive through the pocket yarn of your thumb and then let go with your thumb and just gently tighten it. Don't pull too tight, but don't make it too loose either. You want to have kind of like a nice medium tightness. Then now we have two stitches, so we're going to go again. So we're going to use our needle. We're going to go under the first loop, up through the pocket, over the second strand of yarn, go around the outside of the index finger yarn, and then we're going to dive back down through the pocket of our thumb and then let go with your thumb, and then you just kind of pull gently. Let's do it again. So we're going to go under the first strand of yarn, up through the pocket, over the second strand of thumb yarn, around the index finger yarn, and then dive back down through the pocket. This looks confusing, but really it's all about muscle memory. So you will be able to get really fast at this. So let's keep going. So we're gonna go under the first thumb piece of yarn, up through this little pocket, go over the second strand of yarn on the thumb, and then go around the outside of the the index finger yarn, and then dive back down through the thumb pocket, let go, and then just kind of pull. So we're gonna go up, over, around, down. Now eventually, as you get more comfortable with this, you can use your fingers of your left hand to kind of help you. So you can do that and it'll help you get really fast. But don't do this until you're more comfortable, okay? So let's take a second, let's count our stitches. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, great, let's do a couple more. So let's just make sure we're doing this right. We have the tail end towards us, the working yarn's back here. Insert your fingers this way and then grab the strands of yarn with your back 3 fingers, okay? I opened my thumb and my first finger. Now I'm going to go under the first piece of yarn, up through the pocket, over the second strand of yarn, around the index finger yarn, and then dive back down through the pocket. So we're gonna go under the first one, over the second one, around the third, dive back down through the pocket. Under the first strand, up through this pocket, over the second strand, around the index finger strand, and then dive back down. Let go with your thumb and gently tighten it. We're gonna go up underneath the first strand of yarn, up through the pocket, over the second strand of yarn, around the index finger yarn, dive back down through the pocket, gently pull. Go under the first yarn, through the pocket, over the second strand of yarn, around the index finger, dive back down through the pocket, let go, gently tighten it. Under the first loop, over the second loop, around the third loop. Under the first loop, over the second loop, around the third loop, and down through the pocket. Under the first loop, over the second loop, I'm calling them loops, but I mean strands of yarn, around the index finger strand, and down through the pocket. Now you'll notice as you keep going, your tail is going to shrink. So depending on how many stitches you need to cast on for whatever you're doing, you're going to want to make sure that the tail and that you have enough yarn at the end to make however many stitches you need. So you're always going to have to adjust the amount of yarn that you pull when you first start making your slip knot. So insert your fingers, grab the yarn, open your fingers a little bit. Here we go. Under the first yarn, over the second yarn, around the third strand of yarn, and down through the pocket. Up, over, around, down. Up, over, around, down. Under the first strand, over the second strand, around the third, dive back down. Under the first strand, over the second strand, around the third strand, dive back down. Under the first strand, over the second strand, around the third strand, dive back down. Just keep doing this until it's a muscle memory. And this is kind of the fun part. Once you get it, it's pretty fun. And then you feel like, oh, I'm so accomplished. I cast on a bunch of stitches. All right, so you want to leave about a 6-inch tail before you start. And then once you have that, you can start knitting.